أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu and welcome to our class today. I hope and pray that everyone is doing very well and keeping safe. Before we have a look at our agenda for today's class, I'd like to remind you all of the class rules. As always, please make sure that you are logged in with the correct ID. Only students with the correct ID will be asked to come on the mic and asked to recite today and take part in the class. So please ensure that your IDs are correct. Your heads should be covered. You should be seated in a nice and quiet place so that we are able to hear you properly when you're called to the mic. Please also remain seated at your devices throughout the class so that when you're called to the mic, you can answer quickly without wasting any time. Jazakumullah. So our agenda for today's class is on your screens in front of you. We will be beginning soon with our opening dua. We will then move on to our rule in focus, which is continuing with the rule of assimilation. In particular, we'll be looking at mim and noon after noon sakin in today's class. We will then move on to our practice text. We'll be beginning a new surah for today's class from chapter 92 of the Holy Quran, and we'll aim to finish that surah today. And then we'll end the class as usual with the summarization of the class and assigning you homework and the final dua. So if you can start with our first student on the mic for our beginning dua.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
G2151, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum, G2151.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Are you able to hear me properly and can you see the screen properly as well?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start from this surah that's highlighted, this verse that's highlighted in front of you. This is from the hadith, so please repeat after me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا.
اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا.
Well done. Excellent. Can you read the translation for me now?
Oh Allah, I ask you for beneficial knowledge.
Well done. Excellent. And the reference here is Ibn Majah, Hadith number 925. Excellent. Well done. Jazakumullah for your participation.
Jazakallah.
So what we're going to do now is we are going to move on to having a look at our rule of the day. Okay. So in today's class, we will continue having a look through the rules of noon sakin and tanween. Okay, and we're going to look at how to recognize the nasal sound that you have to make according to the rules. So the cycle that I'm just about to show you now, you should all be very much familiar with, and I hope that you have all memorized it by now, as this will really help you in your recitation. Okay, so when a noon sakin or tanween is observed, we know that a nasal sound is to be made. There are rules that tell you what that nasal sound is. The letter after noon sakin or tanween decides the nasal sound that we have to make. So you must always look at the next letter. Okay, so that's the rule. When you see noon sakin or tanween, we have to look at the letter after it to see what sound it is that we have to make. Okay, so this is a rule that you've learnt and you should know by now. Okay, so let's carry on. So the rule that we're continuing with today is on the rule of assimilation or idgham. Assimilation is a simpler word for assimilation is merging. And assimilation rules tell us how to merge sounds of certain letters after noon sakin or tanween. All these letters that you can see that have just popped up on the screen are all letters of assimilation. If you see any of these letters after Noon Sakin or Tanween, there will be some sort of nasal sound that we have to make. Okay? So in today's lesson, we're going to look at two letters. We're going to look at the letter Mim, and we're going to look at the letter Noon. The rule is, if you see Noon Sakin followed by Noon Mushaddad or a Mim Mushaddad, then we have to make a 2-second ghunna sound. Okay? So once again, the rule is, if you see Noon Sakin, so that's Noon with the sukoon on top of it, followed by a Noon Mushaddad or a Mim Mushaddad, so that's Noon or the letter Mim with a shadda on top of it, then a 2-second ghunna sound is to be made. Okay, and a ghunna sound, if you remember, is a sound that we have to make from our nose, and we have to hold it in our nose for 2 seconds. So timing is really, really important. So what we're going to do now is we are going to look at some examples from the Holy Quran where we see Noon Sakin followed by Noon Mushaddad or Mim Mushaddad, to have a look at how it is that we have to make the sound and the correct way to recite it. Okay, so in the Holy Quran, the first example that I'm going to show you on your screens is this one in green, in the green box. Okay, so this is an example from the Holy Quran where we can see we have a Noon Sakin. Okay, after this Mim, we have a Noon Sakin, and it is followed by a Noon Mushaddad. Okay, this is what we mean by Noon Sakin followed by Noon Mushaddad. This is the way it's written in the Holy Quran. Now let's have a look at how it is that we have to read it. So when we read it, we can see that in this, the Noon Sakin is removed from our recitation, and we're only left with the Noon Mushaddad after the Mim. Okay, so once again, to show you, we have the Noon Sakin over here, but in our recitation, we have to remove that Noon Sakin and only pronounce the Noon Mushaddad after the Mim. Okay, and we've just read in our rule of the day that whenever you see a Noon Sakin followed by Noon Mushaddad, like in this case, then we have to produce a 2-second ghunna sound. So the correct way to pronounce this example from the Holy Quran will be as follows. We will read this as min ni'matin, min ni'matin. Yeah, so you must have heard, I held on to the sound of the Noon Mushaddad, the ghunna sound, for 2 seconds before letting it go to join it to the Ain Sakin. One more time. Min ni'matin. Okay, really important that we're pronouncing that ghunna sound for 2 seconds when we're joining the Mim to the Noon Mushaddad. Okay, now let's have a look at another example. In this example from the Holy Quran, we can see that we have a Noon Sakin, and this time it's followed by a Mim Mushaddad, Mim with a shadda on top. Okay, now this is the way it's written in the Holy Quran. Now let's have a look at how we read it and how do we recite it. We can see that in our recitation, the Noon Sakin in between the Mims is removed from our recitation. Okay, so let me show you quickly. We can see that the Noon Sakin is present in the way that it's written in the Holy Quran, but when we read it, we remove that Noon Sakin and we are left with the Mim Mushaddad. Okay, so whenever we see a Noon Sakin followed by Mim Mushaddad, we have to produce a ghunna sound, which we have to hold in our nose for 2 seconds. Okay, so we would read this as Mim Malin. Okay, please repeat after me, everybody at home. Mimmalin. Okay, I'm joining the meme to the meme mushaddad, holding the nasal sound, holding that ghanna sound in my nose, and then letting it go to produce the alif mud sound. And then, of course, we end with the tanween underneath the lam. Okay, so one more time. Mimmalin. Well done. Okay, so this is the way we read it, but in the Holy Quran, this is how we will find it written. So it's really important that we understand that this noon sakin, we remove it from our recitation and we produce the meme sound with this meme mushaddad. We join these two letters together as is shown over here. Okay, so that's the rule. Once again, whenever you see noon sakin followed by noon mushaddad, in this case you can see over here noon mushaddad, or a meme mushaddad, then a nasal sound or a ghunna sound is made, which we hold for 2 seconds. Okay, so I hope you've all understood the rule of the day, and inshallah in today's recitation of the surah for the day, we'll be having a look at an example in that surah as well, where this rule is to be applied. Okay, so now let's go back to having a look at the surah that we're going to be covering today. So the surah that we're going to be having a look at in today's class is Suratul Layl, and this is a surah found in chapter number 92 of the Holy Quran, and it is found in part number 30 of the Holy Quran. It has a total of 22 verses, inshallah, out of all which we'll be trying to complete in today's class. And this surah was revealed to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the holy city of Mecca. So what we're going to do now, like I said, we're going to move on to our surah, Suratul Layl, and you can see the surah in front of you. And when we're going through the surah, I'd like you to be mindful of all the previous rules that we've learned so far, and we'll be trying to apply them to our recitation in today's class. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to have a student on the mic now, please.
G2120, please unmute yourself.
Jazakumullah. G2120. Assalamu alaikum. G2120. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So we're starting this new surah today. So we're going to start with Dawood and Tasmiyah nice and slowly, okay? So repeat after me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Excellent, well done, really nicely read. Okay, so we're going to start from this verse over here. And like I said, we have to be mindful of all the rules that we have learnt so far. So let's have a look at the things that we have to be careful of whilst reciting this verse over here. Okay, so over here, we have to be mindful of our short strokes. So for example, over here, we have a kasra underneath the lam. So how long do I pronounce this for? Can you tell me?
1 second.
Well done, excellent. Again, 1 second recitation over here with the kasra underneath the alif. Over here, this is alif mud. So can you tell me how many seconds do I elongate that for?
2.
Well done, 2 seconds, well done. So this is alif mud because it's a blank alif and the letter before has a fatha. So we know to stretch this for 2 seconds. And then over here at the end, we have a vertical fatha. So can you tell me how long we're going to stretch that for?
2 seconds.
Excellent, well done. So when we end the verse over here, we're going to end with the sound of the vertical fatha on top of this sheen. Okay, so that's how we're going to read it. So these are just a few things that we have to be careful of. So I'm going to read this verse first, and then I'd like you to repeat after me. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى.
وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى.
Good, well done. Now, this pronunciation, just try that again. We're going to say يَغْشَى.
يَغْشَى.
Excellent, much better. Well done. Well done, really good. Let's carry on to the next verse now. Over here, the first thing we have to realize is that this is a noon mushaddad. Okay, whenever we see a noon mushaddad, we have to join it to the most recent mutaharrik letter. Can you tell me what will I join this noon mushaddad to?
To the wow.
Well done. So we're joining it to this vowel. And when we're joining it, we have to remember our gunna sound. And how long do I produce a gunna sound for over here?
2 seconds.
Well done. Excellent. Really good. Let's carry on. Over here, we have alif mad. So again, like you said before, 2 second elongation over here. 1 second elongation on this ra. 1 second elongation over here. 2 second elongation on the alif mad because it's a blank alif and the letter before has a fatha. Okay. 1 second elongation on the ta. And then over here, we're going to end the sound with the vertical fatha on the lam mushaddad. Okay, so let's say this verse together. We're going to say it as وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى.
وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى.
Excellent, well done. Try to hold that gunna sound over here for a bit longer. Okay, so 2 seconds at least. وَالنَّهَارِ.
وَالنَّهَارِ.
Okay, good, well done. A bit longer on the nasal sound over here. وَالنَّهَارِ.
وَالنَّهَارِ.
Good, much better. Okay, but just practice that gunna sound that we have to make over here. And over here, remember, this is the letter the.
The.
Okay, either.
إِذَا.
Good, well done. Excellent. Let's carry on to the next verse now. Over here, we have to be mindful of this alif mad because there's a blank alif letter before has a fatha. So 2 second elongation over here. And then we have 1 second strokes over here, fatha, so 1 second each. Over here, again, we have 1 second elongation, 1 second elongation. And then over here, this is a noon sakin. Whenever we see a noon sakin, we have to look at the letter afterwards. So the letter after this, letter tha, can you tell me, is that one of the letters of the throat?
No.
Yes, well done. So it's not a letter of the throat. So what we're going to do over here, when we join the alif to the noon, we have to produce a nasal sound for 2 seconds, a partial nasal sound, okay? So when we say it, we're going to hold that noon sound in our nose for about 2 seconds before we say the next letter. So let's say this verse. It's a bit of a longer verse, but let's try it all together, okay? وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى.
وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ الْأُنثَى.
Good, well done. But remember, this lam sakin is joining on this waw. Okay, so one more time. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى.
وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى.
Good, well done, much better. Over here, remember that this simply has a fatha on it. Okay, so we're only going to stretch it for 1 second. So let's break this verse down a bit to help you, okay? وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ.
وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ
وَالْأُنثَى.
وَالْأُنثَى.
Good, excellent, well done, really nicely read, mashallah. Let's carry on. Over here we have noon mushaddad. So again, Gunna sound, nasal sound that we have to hold in our nose for 2 seconds when we join it to the previous letter. Okay, and then over here, remembering all our short strokes. So over here we have fatha, over here fatha again over here. So we have to be mindful that we're only spending 1 second each on those strokes. Inna sa'yakum lashatta.
Inna sa'yakum lashatta.
Excellent. Well done. You're reading really, really nicely, mashallah. Just keep practicing, okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well done. Jazakumullah for your participation. Really nicely read. Jazakumullah. Allah Hafiz. Can we have another student on the mic, please?
Yes, G2142, please unmute yourself.
G2142. Assalamu alaikum. G2142. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Are they unmuted?
They are, but I think we can't hear them. G2146, please unmute yourself.
G2146. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Is that G2146?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So we're going to carry on with our recitation. So we're starting from this verse over here. Okay, and let's have a look at what we need to be mindful of in this recitation, in this verse over here. So the first thing, we have fatha. So 1 second stretching over here, no longer than that. Over here, we have a noon sakin. So whenever we see a noon sakin, the next thing we have to do is we have to look at what the next letter is and if it's a letter of the throat. So can you tell me, this alif over here, is it a letter of the throat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well done. Okay, so alif is a letter of the throat. So that means that when we join the meme to the noon, we have to make a clear sound, a clear pronunciation, okay, with no stretched nasal sound. So, and then the next thing over here, we have a vertical fatha. Vertical fatha, can you tell me how many seconds do I elongate that for?
2.
2 seconds? Yeah?
Yeah.
Excellent. Well done. Really good. And then over here at the end of the verse, again, we have another vertical fatha, which again means we have to elongate for 2 seconds as we end the verse. Okay, so we're going to start from here. Could you read Dawood and Tasmiyah for me first, please?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good, well done. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى.
وما
Okay, so the first letter is fa. So فَأَمَّا.
فأما
Good, well done. Stretch it for a bit longer because of the alif mud over here, okay? فَأَمَّا.
فأما
Excellent. مَنْ أَعْطَى.
من أعطى
Good, well done. Over here, this is al. Can you try with the ayn sound? Al. Good, well done. It's a bit of a difficult one to make, but well done for trying and giving it a go, okay? So all together, man a'ta.
من أعطى
Good, okay, well done. You're really trying hard, mashallah, which is really good to hear. But over here, just say al.
Al.
Good. And then at the end, it's wattaqa.
واتقى
Good, well done. So one more time. فَأَمَّا
فأما
مَنْ أَعْطَى
من أعطى
واتقى.
واتقى.
Excellent. Good. Well done. Really good try. Okay, so of course, because it's the initial stages and you're still learning, it's okay that you've broken it down into smaller parts, this verse. Absolutely fine. But inshallah, as you go forward, try and say this whole verse all in one go. Okay, try that after class, inshallah. Let's carry on to the next verse. Over here, we have a fatha on the waw. So 1 second stretching over here. Again, fatha over here, 1 second timing. And then over here, we're joining the ba to the lam sakin over here. And at the end, we have a vertical fatha on the noon. So 2 second elongation over here. So this will be wasaddaqa,
واتقى.
wasaddaqa. Yeah. Sadda.
وصدق.
Excellent. Wasaddaqa
وصدق
bilhusna.
بالحسنى.
Excellent. Good. Well done. So all together, shall we try it all together now? وصدق بالحسنى.
قبي.
Okay, so starting from here, yeah? وصدق
وصدق
بالحسنى.
بالحسنى.
Excellent. Well done. Really good try. Okay, mashallah. Let's carry on to the next verse now. Over here, we have fatha, 1 second stroke, so 1 second elongation, 1 second elongation, dhamma, so 1 second timing. Over here, we have a inverted dhamma. So can you tell me how many seconds do I give to an inverted dhamma?
2.
2 seconds. Yes, well done. Excellent. And then over here at the end, we have a vertical fatha, so a 2 second elongation over here as well. Okay, so let's try this one. Let's break it down a little bit for you, okay? فَسَنُيَسِّرُ.
فسنيسر.
Good. Well done. Make sure you remember this nu in the middle as well, okay? فَسَنُيَسِّرُ.
فسنيسر.
Excellent. And then over here we have هُ لِلْيُسْرَى.
يسرى.
Good. Well done. So one more time. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ.
فسنيسر.
Okay, so it's the ha that you're stretching for 2 seconds because of the inverted dhamma, not the ra. Okay, so one more time. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ.
فسنيسر.
Yeah. Ruhu لليسرى.
لليسرى.
Good, well done, excellent. Okay, so like I've said before as well, just after class, revisit this surah and try and build up so that you're able to say the whole verse on your own and say as a whole, okay, rather than breaking up. But it's for now, it's absolutely fine. Okay, well done, really good try. And let's carry on to the next verse now. So over here we have fatha on the waw, so 1 second timing over here. After this meme, we have an alif mad, so we have to elongate our sound out for 2 seconds. After this, we have a small meme that you can see on top of the noon sakin. What this meme means is that instead of producing the sound of the noon sakin, we're going to produce the sound of meme sakin. So we're going to join this meme to this meme over here, okay, before carrying on. So let's try and give that a go. Okay, so we're going to say وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ.
وأما بخيل
Good, well done. Really good try. Over here, remember this is bakhila.
من بخيل
Excellent, well done. Wastaghna.
واستغنى
Excellent, well done. Really good. Let's try one more time. Wa amma man bakhila.
وما بخيل
Good. Over here, this is just to correct you over here. This is wa amma
وأما
man
من
bakhila.
بخيل
Good. Wa amma man bakhila.
وأما بخيل
Okay, good. But just over here, you forgot to say the mum over here, okay? So let's do it bit by bit to help you, okay? Wa amma
وأما
man
من
bakhila
بخيل
wastaghna.
واستغنى
Good. This is a ghain sound, okay? Taghna.
استغنى
Good. Well done. So it can be easy to confuse the sound of ghain and kha, but you have to be really, really careful, okay? This is the letter kha. This is the letter ghain. So two very different sounds that we have to make for the two letters, okay? But well done. Really, really good try. Jazakumullah for your participation. After class, make sure you do the homework and go through the verses again and try to say them a bit more fluently, okay? But other than that, well done. Really good try. Jazakumullah for your participation.
جزاك الله
Jazakumullah. Let's have another student on the mic, please.
G2141, please unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
fine
Alhamdulillah, that's really good to hear. How are you finding the class? Are you understanding it?
yes
Okay, that's great to hear. So we're going to start from here. Okay, so this verse over here we're going to go through, but before we do that, I'd like you to please read Dawud and Tasmiyah nice and slowly with a nice melody, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Perfect, well done. So in this verse over here, we have to be mindful of our short strokes. So you can see we have a short stroke over here, we have a short stroke over here. And then we have to remember our long stroke. So we have a vertical fatha at the end of the verse. So we have to do a 2-second stretch at the end. So let's start from here. We're going to say, وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى.
وكذب بالحسنى
Excellent. Well done. This sound over here of this letter over here, so it's a bit different. So we have to say kadha.
كذا
Yeah. So what you do, you take the tip of your tongue and you touch it to your top two teeth. Okay. وَكَذَّبَ.
وكذب
Much, much better. Well done. And this one over here, this is husna.
حسنى
Good. Well done. Take a nice, like a big sigh that you take. Okay, like that. Husna.
حسنى
Perfect. Much, much better. Well done. Let's carry on to the next verse now. Again, remembering our short strokes. All these letters over here, they have a short stroke on them. So we have to be careful to only give these letters a timing of 1 second. Then we have to remember our longer stroke. So over here we have can you tell me what this stroke is called?
Inverted Dhamma.
Yes, well done. And how many seconds do I give that?
2 seconds.
Excellent. Good. Well done. And over here, again, we have a vertical fatha this time at the end. Again, 2-second timing we have to give that. So this verse will be as follows. We're going to say, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى.
فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى.
Good. Well done. Excellent. Remember, this is a kasra over here. So we're going to say lil. And this is a fatha. So we're going to say sa. Fasa. Okay. So one more time. فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى.
فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى.
Excellent, mashallah, well done, really good. Over here, this is the letter Ain. So it's a sound that we are not used to making from our throats, but we have to make a bit of an effort to make the sound, okay? So we're going to say Usra.
Usra.
Good, okay, well done, really good attempt. Just keep practicing that sound of the Ain, okay? And you'll get it, inshallah. Let's carry on to the next verse. Again, remembering our short strokes. Fatha over here. We have an alif mud over here. Can you tell me how long do I give this alif mud?
You give this alif mud 2 seconds.
Well done. Excellent. Now we have another letter of mud in this verse. Over here we have a ya mud. It's a ya mud because it's a ya sakin. Letter before has a kasra. Again, we give this ya mud a timing of 2 seconds. Okay. Over here again we have alif mud. 2-second elongation. Over here, we have to do an extra long elongation because we have to stretch for at least 3 seconds over here. Okay, so we have to be careful of that. Alif mud over here, so 2-second elongation. Vertical fatha at the end, so 2-second elongation. So this verse will be like this. وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى.
وَمَا يُغْنِي عَنْهُ مَالُهُ إِذَا تَرَدَّى. تَرَدَّى.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really good, mashallah. It was a longer verse, but you read really nicely. Over here, it's a dal at the end. Okay, that's why we're saying taradda and elongating at the end. A few more things over here. Like I said, this is a sign that tells us that we have to do extra long elongation of at least 3 seconds, so 3 to 5 seconds. So you can count it on your fingers as you say it, but make sure you're saying it for at least 3 seconds. And over here, this is the letter ghain. So this will be yughni.
Yughni.
Well done. And this is maluhu.
Maluhu.
Excellent. Well done. Really good. Let's do one more verse, okay? Over here we have noon mushaddad. So we have to produce a ghunna sound, nasal sound, holding it in our nose for 2 seconds. Over here we have alif mud. So stretching it for 2 seconds. Vertical fatha at the end, so 2 seconds. Inna alayna lal huda.
Inna alayna lal huda.
Perfect. Well done. Really, really nicely read, mashallah. Really good nasal sound over here. But like I said before, just remember this ayn sound, you have to make a bit differently to a simple alif sound. Okay, so after class, remember and try to practice that sound. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect. Well done. Jazakumullah for your participation. Allah Hafiz. Let's have another student on the mic, please.
G2149, please unmute yourself.
Jazakumullah. G2149. Assalamu alaikum. G2 149, can you hear me?
G2 162, please unmute yourself.
G2 162. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Is that G2 162?
Ji.
How are you
Yeah.
today?
I'm good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah, that's good to hear. How are you finding the lesson? All okay? Understand
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
All right, that's great to hear. Perfect. So we're going to carry on with the next verse of this surah. So we have to be mindful of our short strokes. So we have a fatha on the waw, so 1 second timing should be given to that. Over here we have a noon mushaddad, and we know that whenever we see a noon mushaddad, we have to produce a gunna sound for 2 seconds. So we have to be mindful of that. We have alif mad over here after the noon, so 2 second elongation. Vertical fatha on the alif. So over here you can see that this is an alif. Okay, after this is the lam, and this is the alif, and alif has a vertical fatha. So vertical fatha needs to be given how many seconds? Can you tell me?
2 seconds.
Excellent, well done. And over here we have a vowel mud. It's a vowel mud because it's a vowel sakin, letter before has a dhamma. So 2 second elongation again over here. Vertical fatha at the end, so 2 second elongation over there as well. Okay, so can you read Dawood and Tasmiya for me, please, before starting?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good, well done. وَإِنَّ لَنَا لَلْآخِرَةَ وَالْأُولَى.
وَإِنَّ لَنَا لَلْآخِرَةَ وَالْأُولَى.
Excellent, mashallah, well done. Really, really nicely read with no mistakes, which is really, really good. Well done, excellent. Let's carry on to the next verse. Over here, again, short stroke. So we have a fatha over here. After this, we have a noon sakin. Okay, so whenever we see a noon sakin, we have to look at the next letter. So the next letter after noon sakin is this. Can you tell me, is this the letter of the throat?
No.
No, yes, well done. So it's not a letter of the throat, which means that when we join the alif to the noon, we have to produce a partial nasal sound, which we have to hold for 2 seconds. Okay, so that's something we have to be careful of. And then, of course, we have more short strokes over here. We have a tanween over here, which means, again, we have to produce a nasal sound for 2 seconds before we carry on to the next letter. We have an alif mud before that, so 2 second elongation over there as well. Okay, so let's start with this verse over here. فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ نَارًا تَلَظَّى.
فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى.
Excellent, well done. So there were 2 places in this verse where we have to produce the nasal sound, which we had to hold for 2 seconds. One was over here and one was over here, which you did beautifully. Well done, excellent. Let's carry on. Over here we have alif mud after the lam, so 2 second elongation over here, 2 second elongation over here again, because what is this? Can you tell me what sign this is?
Vertical fatha.
Yeah, well done. Over here, we have another sign on top of this alif mud, which tells us that we have to elongate for at least 3 seconds. So nice deep breath when we say this. And then after that, we have to be mindful that this lam mushaddad joins onto this lam sakin over here. Okay, and then we have the alif over here. So this is a common sign that we'll see in the Holy Quran, where we have this lam joined onto this alif over here, but they're read separately. Okay, so it can be confusing, but this is something that we have to remember. So let's carry on with this verse. We're going to recite it as follows. لا يصلها إلا الأشقى.
لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى.
Excellent. Well done. So you may have noticed that at the end over here, we stretch the qa for 2 seconds because that is one of the rules of pausing. Inshallah, we will cover this in future classes. But for now, just know that when you end the verse over here, because of the way it's written, we elongate the qa at the end for 2 seconds as if it had a vertical fatha on it. Okay, so that's the way we'd read it. Let's carry on to the next verse. Over here, be careful of your short strokes. Over here we have ya mad, so stretching it for 2 seconds over here at the because of the ya mad. Okay, so we're going to read this as الذي كذب وتولى.
الذي كذب وتولى.
Excellent. Well done. Really, really nicely read. And let's just do one more verse. This is going to be وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى.
وسيجنبها الأتقى.
Good. Excellent. Well done. Over here, what we did, we produced a nasal sound over here, which we held for 2 seconds because of the noon mushaddad. Okay, so that's something that we had to be careful of. Over here, remember, don't make a jerk sound over here because this is not part of the qalqala rule. So it's going to be simple at like that. Okay, so one more time. وَسَيُجَنَّبُهَا الْأَتْقَى.
وسيجنبها الأتقى.
Excellent. Well done, mashallah. You read really, really nicely. And mashallah, I could hardly pick out any places where you made a mistake, which was really, really good. Okay. Mashallah. Well done. Really good. Jazakumullah for your participation. Keep practicing. Let's have our next student on the mic, please.
G2163, please unmute yourself.
G2163. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakumullah for asking. So we're going to carry on to the next verse. If you could please recite Dawud and Tasmiyah for me first.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Good, well done. So in this verse over here, we have to be careful of this ya mad, which we have to stretch for how many seconds? Can you tell me?
2.
2 seconds, yeah? Well done, excellent. Now after this, we have, can you see the small hamza sakin on top of the vowel?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So can you tell me how would I recite this?
You.
Good, excellent. So the way you've pronounced it is with a jerk sound. Okay, so you've joined the ya to the hamza sakin and you've pronounced it with a jerk sound, yu, like that. Okay, so this vowel at the bottom can be quite confusing to some because it might seem like you make the sound of a vowel sakin, but it's actually the hamza sakin that we're making the sound of. Okay, and I'd like you to take you back to the analogy of the chair and the person, so that the hamza is sitting on the chair of the vowel. So that's why we produce a sound of the hamza. Hamza sakin is the sound that we're making. Okay, so that's something that to be careful of over here. We have ya mad over here, so 2 second elongation. Alif mad, 2 second elongation. Inverted dhamma, 2 second elongation. الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى.
الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى.
Excellent, mashallah, well done, really, really nicely read. Let's carry on to the next verse. Over here, be mindful of the alif mad. So 2 second elongation over here. 1 second strokes all the way over here, so be careful of those. We have a tanween So we have a kasratain underneath the dal. So whenever we see tanween, we have to look at the next letter and see if it's a letter of the throat. So the ayn after the kasratain, can you tell me, is that a letter of the throat?
Yes.
Yes. So what does that mean? What kind of sound am I going to make over here? Is it going to be a nasal sound or a clear sound?
A clear sound.
Yes, a clear sound that we have to make over here. Well done. And then over here we have inverted dhamma, so 2-second elongation. Now I've highlighted this section over here of this verse because this is according to the rule of the day that we've just learned. So the rule of the day was that whenever you see a noon sakin followed by noon mushaddad, we have to produce a 2-second nasal sound. So over here, what we have to do is that the noon sakin is removed from our recitation and we simply join the meme to this noon mushaddad with a nasal ghunna sound, which we have to hold for 2 seconds. Okay, so this is the rule of the day. That's why I've highlighted it for you here. So we have to be careful of it over here. Okay, so this is something that we need to be careful of as we're reciting. So let's start. وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى
وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى.
Excellent. Well done. Really nicely read. And you did the partial nasal sound over here as well, which was really good because we have tanween underneath the letter ta. The next letter is another ta, and ta is not one of the letters of the throat, which means we have to produce a nasal sound, which we hold before carrying on to the next segment of the verse. Well done. Excellent. Let's carry on. The next verse is as follows. We have to be careful of our short strokes. Over here, we have an extra long elongation taking place. We have to stretch this for at least 5 seconds. So really, really long stretch that we have to do over here. So take a nice deep breath as you say it. 1 second elongation over here. Over here, we have a Jim sakin. Can you tell me what rule that I have to apply over here?
Kalkala.
Yes, well done. And we did the same over here as well in the previous verse. So because it's a letter Jim with a sukoon on top, we have to produce a qalqala. We have to apply the qalqala rule, which means we have to produce a bouncing sound when we say this. Okay, so let's try this verse together now. Over here as well, we have the letter ba sakin. Okay, so ba is also another letter of qalqala. So we have to produce a bouncing sound over here as well. So 2 places in this verse where we have to apply the qalqala rule. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so sorry, let's start this verse again. إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى
إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى.
Good, well done, excellent, really good attempt at this verse, mashallah. Over here, try to stretch your sound even longer. Okay, so at least 5 seconds, and 5 seconds is a long amount of time to hold your breath, I understand, but try and give it a go, and you can always practice inshallah after class as well. Okay, so one more time. إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى
إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى.
Good. Mashallah, really good attempt, really good try. But just focus on this sound over here. Okay, so it's a really, really long elongation that we have to do, at least 5 seconds. So try this after class, okay? Okay, well done. Let's try the last verse now. Over here, we have to be careful. Short strokes overhead, so 1 second elongation of both of those. And then we have vertical fatha at the end, so 2-second elongation over there. وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى.
وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى.
Good, well done. So at the end, this letter dha is a really thick and heavy sounding letter. So making sure to produce that thick and heavy sound. Okay, one more time. وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى.
وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى.
Good, well done. And make sure don't produce the bouncing sound over here, okay? Ra is not one of the letters of qalqala, so we have to simply say it nice and softly when we join it to the ya. Yarda.
يَرْضَى.
Good, well done, mashallah. Really nicely read, really impressed and really happy with the way you're reading, mashallah. Just keep practicing. And like I said, try and focus on this sound over here, stretching your sound out for at least 5 seconds when it comes to this sign over here. Okay, well done, excellent. Jazakumullah for your participation. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so that was the end of the verse. Suratul Layl. That's what we've covered today. And mashallah, everybody read really, really nicely. I could hear that you were all making an effort to remember all the rules that we have learned previously, and you were trying to apply them to your recitation, which was really nice to hear. And mashallah, I asked you all a few questions here and there as we were reading the verses. And mashallah, all of you got those answers right, which was really good as well. So keep practicing, mashallah, really nicely read today. I'm going to assign you your homework now, which is to practice Suratul Layl. We've covered all of the surah in today's class, alhamdulillah. So verse 1 to verse 22 is what you have to cover for your homework. And try to apply all the rules that you know and all the rules that we've covered so far in our class to your recitation. The more you practice, inshallah, the better you will get in your recitation and the better it will be for you. Today's rule, just to remind you all, was one of the rules of Noon Sakin and Tanween that we've been covering the past few classes. And the rule is of assimilation or idgham in Arabic. So the rule is that whenever you see the letter Mim Mushaddad or Noon Mushaddad after Noon Sakin, we have to produce a 2-second ghunna sound. So it's really important that you're first of all able to recognize where the Noon Sakin is, see if there is a Mim Mushaddad or a Noon Mushaddad before it, and then apply a 2-second ghunna sound. Okay, so that's your homework. Revise the rule and go through and practice the surah that we've just covered in today's class. So we will end the class today with the closing dua. So if you could please have another student on the mic to help us with that.
G2165, please unmute yourself.
G2165. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. G2165. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. How did you find the class? Were you able to understand everything?
Yes.
All right, that's really good to hear. Make sure you do your homework, and that way you'll get to practice the surah that we've covered today as well. Okay, so we're going to finish with the prayer after reciting the Holy Quran. I'd like you to repeat after me, please. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم.
اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم.
Excellent. Well done. Really nicely read. Jazakumullah for your help. Jazakumullah for your participation. And Jazakumullah to everybody who's joined us for today's class. Make sure that you do your homework so that you can practice the surah that was covered in today's class as well as the rule. And inshallah, we'll speak to you all again same time tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.